All right, everybody.
All right. Hey, welcome everybody to the Crossover Cinema Podcast. I'm Carlo.
And I'm Kaya. You guys, you already know we're here to talk about Batman, the Caped Crusader, the latest series, animated series from Bruce Timm, the original creator of Batman, the animated series. And Amazon actually is the one who's got the rights on this one. They paid for it. They must have just, I think Warner Brothers wasn't looking to air it on HBO Max, and Amazon
They
came through.
just sell it. Yeah,
So
it's
far,
crazy.
for me, I really got to say, like, I'm looking forward to a season two with this show. I know there's been some chatter about it, not the most positive, but I'm really looking forward to what this angle of Batman can like go on to, like what it can build upon, because we already have this Elseworlds angle with these different origins, a lot of gender bending, some race bending, and it's like I feel like what we've gotten so far is a good start, but it can get bigger and I think better as the show goes on. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, and most of all, I'm really happy with the casting for Batman. Hamish Linklater, I think that's the actor's name. Wow, great job, great job with the voice acting. I'm like super impressed. I'm just like, wow, like you really took the torch from the late Kevin Conroy, rest in peace, and really are carrying it well. I'm impressed so far. What do you think,
But let's
Carlo?
start. Well, let's start with the first thing that everybody talks about. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the main thing about that series is that let's talk about that the Penguin that completely switched and went
Oswalda.
to a. I know there's like a thing where a lot of people think that it's like the woke part and it's like a woke Batman universe. Uh, I don't think I want to go there. It's not a woke thing. Let's just talk about it like if it's a complete like
Let's talk about it from a writing perspective.
yeah,
You
exactly.
know,
Did we like the fact that they switch it? How did we like it? I wasn't mad about it. I was surprised, really surprised, but I understood that okay, we're going in a universe that is completely like different. It's good. It's a different kind of like vibe. I like the fact that she was like super strong and she was an artist and she was so extra. I didn't hate that, but that full episode, I was not hooked yet. I was still wondering what was gonna happen. Uh, I like the fact that they went in the old drawings too. That's cool. That's pretty cool.
even
And that's why I think
the
the level of
costume,
expectation
the costume
was
work
like,
is where that really, like, Batman's outfit
but
alone.
even the drawing of
Mm-hmm.
everything, like even like we felt the old Batman begin and Batman, like I don't know. I felt the old drawing that we would see usually in the old
Yeah,
Batman, and we
the
didn't
animated
see it
series,
in
the animated series you
yeah,
knew from as a
exactly.
child, you know, when you were younger,
Exactly.
you had that initial attachment to Batman through that, and I feel like they were trying to capture that essence through the animation style and the art style. Like that was the goal, and I think they succeeded, especially with that. Like aesthetically, it was more noir than Batman's ever really been,
Exactly. And the
and it's
songs
nice.
and
Mm-hmm.
the violin
The
playing and
score.
everything,
Mm-hmm.
I felt it. I felt the old kind of moody Batman that is so like it's more darker in his head than in his life. I mean like that's what I felt about it. But I don't know if Penguin is like unanimous. I cannot say that I was attached to the character, but I accepted it when it passed. I started it with okay, we're going somewhere else with that series. Seriously, like
From there, that's where they're kind of like dropping you in. That's the thing I like about the show a
mhm.
lot too, is it really just picks you up and just plops you in and goes, "This is Batman. This is this kind of Batman."
Yeah.
And I think Oswald the Cobblepot for me works on the level that it's not just a gender bend. It's like they take
Mm.
that aspect of her character and like play with it narratively. So she's got sons this time. It's more of a
Mm.
family oriented kind of aspect. She's kind of trying to compete with the other crime families in Gotham, which I don't think they extrapolated on as much, like the Maronis and the Falcones, which I would love to see
No,
next season. If like that's the thing, I think this show is laying groundwork for a lot of these changes to like be built upon as it goes on, and like
but
especially for Cobblepot, that works for me. I think like that episode alone was just, it was giving she was giving mom in Futurama. She's got these
well,
sons and she's they're incompetent, and instead of smacking them, she kills them.
yeah, but that's the thing that I'm wondering is, like Oswald has a such a close link with his mother. There's such a big story with like the Penguin and what happened before he was the Penguin and everything. So with that Penguin in that universe, I'm wondering what is the link with his parents, because all of what Oswald is almost because of his parents, like how his mother smothered him, how like,
I
and
think
maybe it
that's
wasn't that
more.
present in the comics, but I'm just saying like in the universe of Batman that we know today, we see a lot of like the interaction that he had with his mommy, that like he was a king child. I don't know.
That's more
I'm
for them to
wondering like.
mine on. I think like
Mhm.
there's more of her character to go through, and I think that this was just a clear initial, taste of
Mhm.
what this version is. I think it's the same thing um, with this rendition of Harleen Quinzel. I won't even call her Harley Quinn. I feel like
Yeah, Harleen Quinn,
I feel like Harleen
Quinzel,
Quinzel's a
yeah,
more appropriate
like yeah.
like name and rendition for this character, because I feel like it really was a it was almost it was modern, like in the sense
Mhm.
of like, not that somebody back in the day wouldn't want to eat the rich and kill them literally, but I feel like it's a very like modern kind of like villain take, like motivation wise, and I feel like that is another thing that the show is kind of doing. It's having its cake and eating it too. It's being in the past, but it's approaching a lot of modern kind of aspects of storytelling that happen more often now, like more out there LGBT relationships, more clear racial dynamics and gender dynamics at play and stuff like that, and addressing those very clearly, like through all those female characters. Like Harleen for me works because she's still fun for me. I still find her fun. The way she was interacting with Renee and Barbara, it was this kind of like playful gal pal. Like, I'm the smart one. I know all this stuff. I know all these people. And like, she
Mhm.
was giving that cool kind of energy. And then to see the flip of her personality kind of reflect through the way she's like, dominating these men and like forcing them to give up all their money and making them see how they're basically big old pieces of crap. So it's like one of those things where I really enjoy that version of the character through that. I think it's an interesting lens to explore it
I'm
110%.
I get what you're saying, but at that point, I was still in the backstory of Arlie, and with Arlene Quinzel, I'm wondering what is her backstory? How did she became like that Harley Quinn that is presented, like
Mm-hmm.
that darker
Mm-hmm.
side of Harley Quinn. For me, I'm not gonna lie. One of the character that hit me the most is for sure Basil Carlo, because he's an actor and his name is written the same way as my name. And when I discovered that character when I was younger in the comics, I was flabbergasted because I was at theater school and I was just trying to be the best actor I can, and I discovered like I was baffled that this character existed, and I didn't know he was like exactly that, trying to be the best actor he could be and switch form and just being like. And when they put that character the second episode for me, that's where I went in. I was like, okay, but I knew that character. I don't know if everybody know Basil Carlo like that. Like, it's
Well,
not
so
like
for
a
me,
popular character
I
in Batman,
wasn't
you
I
know?
wasn't aware of his character like that,
Exactly,
and
but me, I knew it, so I was
that's a
like,
deep
damn.
cut,
And if you check in the comics, he's really not like he was presented like in his disgusting form. It's another kind of. He looks more like if he has mud and he's like a big monster. But on that one, he was more like a
Well, it's a
kind of
it's a tweak
detective kind
again,
of.
another tweak
Exactly,
on
and I liked
Clayface.
it. But
Yeah,
that's where I
exactly.
started to be. The second episode for me, I liked it because of the
I
character.
actually
But
think
I
that's
don't
one of
know
the
if what you
strongest
were saying.
episodes of the series, hands down. It's got the
Mhm.
full flair and vibe of the noir, like down pat, and that tweak to Clayface's like origin, I think, and like, or showing that version of Clayface, because I'm not too familiar with that, is like really, it was cool. It was cool to see the jealousy, and then at the same time like the way he was playing everybody, and you as the viewer, if you know Batman's history, you know that somebody's impersonating all these people. But it's really
Exactly.
cool for
So
you as the viewer to be like, oh shit, like he's actually Clayface, and this is like, I know it
yeah,
and you
and
guys
we're
don't know it because
bringing.
Batman, you haven't even met Clayface
Mhm,
before, like stuff like
mhm.
that. So that's where I think the show gets its advantages from 110%.
But I feel like I want to go like through all the villains. Let's go through the villains, like
Well, next is
just
easily Catwoman.
yeah,
Catwoman.
it's Catwoman.
Christina Ricci. Go ahead, girl. Go ahead, girl. Go ahead. I see you. You got it, love. You got it. That episode for me,
But
it's just so fun. I love like feeling like I'm reading a comic book and I'm watching it, and it's animated and it's voiced, and just her movement and her like flirtiness with him and the outfit they gave her too. At first I was like, oh really, a dress, and she's like showing her
yeah,
whole face, but then at first I was
but
like,
it
but this
pulls
is
it
a
off. It's okay.
but and then it allows her to, if she comes back, be the full Catwoman, donning the full outfit,
Hmm.
so nobody knows she's Selena Kyle, right? So I could really see them building on, again, another thing for a
That
second season to do more with.
for sure, for sure. But let's see if there's gonna be a second season.
Oh, I
But
think
right
it's
now,
happening. I think it's happening.
but
110%.
Catwoman in that version is for me wasn't I think inspired a little bit by Batwoman. I don't know what you think about it, but when you think about like Batwoman and that Catwoman, I was seeing a lot of similarity in
I
the
don't
costume.
find. I don't find.
No?
I find what it was more giving for me was a kind of like a cross between the civilian aspect of her character and the brimmings of like the cat person that she is, because she loves all
Mm.
these cats. She's got these strays and everything. She's very careless. And the
Yeah,
thing,
but like she's rich
but
and
that's the thing.
kleptoman
But
and just
that's
want
what I'm
to
saying.
like
That's what I'm saying.
it's another twist
There's
of
a
it.
clear angle here that they're going for, which it's definitely been shown in history that a lot of celebrities and people who like have these moments where they just go kleptomaniac, and I think expanding on that and making an heiress with all this money have this like complex of trying to steal other
Yeah,
people's money
but
is
we
really
saw
interesting.
like now she doesn't have money anymore and she's gonna restart her arc, right?
100.
Like
She's. I don't even think it's about
so
restarting her arc. I think it's that her arc is now beginning as the actual Catwoman. I think she was truly just Selena
yeah,
Kyle,
but
thieving, and now it's going to be this persona. And I think she's going to be a little more agile and a little more adept. She's going to have more toys. So, for example, Batman whipped her with the bolas. He threw the bolas at her
yeah,
and tripped her down. That is a classic Catwoman weapon and tool to
yeah,
use. So 100% next season, she's going to trip him up with them bolas.
she's gonna use it. Yeah, yeah,
I,
for sure. I get it. But I found that on that one on Catwoman the arc is clear, but for Harley Quinn or for Penguin, the backstory to the arc for me wasn't that clear. Like for Catwoman, I see what they want to do. Sorry, I see what they want to do with it, but for the two others, I wasn't sure about it. You know, it wasn't clear for me. Like
take it a step
even
further.
even Firebug, Firefly, see it how
Well,
you want it.
yeah.
Like it's okay, but he's not a big villain anyways. Like it's not a like
Well, that's the thing.
important villain. So
Take those kind of like motivations a step further, and it's like we're. I think we're getting the beginnings of a lot of these characters, but I can already sort of see where, for example, Harley Quinn, I think is going to be on more of a redemption arc. And I think in the comics and in the animation, they've done a lot of redemption arcs for Harley Quinn normally, the normal Harley Quinn who murders all sorts of regular civilians and people with the Joker and stuff like that, right? So I think this version having that kind of like, you don't feel so negative about her crimes because the people she's doing it to are actually genuinely bad people and they're rich and they have no care for humans as a whole, and she as a therapist tries to instill that in them. And I think that parallel with her being with Bruce in those therapy sessions adds to that. Like you're seeing that she at her core really does want to help people, and that's what the job as a therapist applies to, but it's also like
but
she's ready to do whatever it
takes.
takes, exactly, right? So I think that that's where we're going to see the extremities and her kind of balance with Bruce a lot more, and I think that we're going to definitely see her come back next season in both forms. I think as Harleen Quinzel, like the psychiatrist, and really like playing off like she didn't hurt anybody and nothing happened, right? And then at the same time going back in the outfit, because I really like the outfit, I like the color scheme, it's cool, I really dig it.
And we cannot talk about like Batman without talking about like everything that he lived with his parents, going through that emotional shock about seeing his parents dying. That's what it makes Batman. Some people are fed up about seeing it. We know it, but it's there in every creation that Batman comes out.
It's
Almost,
a
I'm just
necessity.
saying there's a part of like we see that it's that, but in that series, it's very present. The vengeance that he's feeling, that he needs to, that's everything that he's driven. And when he almost loses Alfred, you see that he was so vulnerable 1 second, but I found that it was really a vengeance Batman. Like it was really the theme. Like he was we saw a scene. He was like two, and he was like, "I will kill them all. I will get them all." Like he was really in it. That's what it was. Maybe one of the main difference. I'm not saying that the other Batman are not vengeance. They are, but this one was really driven by it. Like every movie was doing, he was always analyzing people. But it was the beginning of Batman 2. That's interesting too. I like that. I like that we were like at the beginning of everything. People didn't know who was the Bat. Like it was a rumor. We saw it after. I don't know.
I think
There's
take
something
it
I like about that.
again. Add to that the fact that like the distinctions in characters of what we've gotten for like Barbara Gordon and uh, Commissioner Gordon and Renee Montoya, like the design changes and like making the main villains kind of like the detectives, the Flask and Bullock. I feel like that adds to that kind of like vengeance aspect because you have all these different characters who want to pursue some form of like a righteous like justice upon somebody else who's done them wrong, you know. And I feel like throughout the show you're getting these build up scenarios where Flash and Bullock constantly get away with all the crimes and whatnot that they do, and the murder of like Firebug and stuff like that. So it's like I think that angle alone is like is going to allow the show to like keep that as a theme going on. And I think like even Two-Face's like whole arc throughout the show, he just kind of is that character who's there. He's dickish. He's just around. He's just being this like presence.
But it's the RV Dent.
But
I'm used
that you're
to.
used to.
Like
But here's
it
the
wasn't
thing.
that different.
Killing him off, the same thing with Firebug. It allows there to be a sympathy to these villains that you don't always get as much in other versions of Batman. It's like we're moving in a direction where I think a lot of the villains aren't necessarily like clear-cut antagonists. It's one of those things where it's like they have more to give narratively than to just be like, oh, I want to kill everybody, everything sucks, right? It's really like there's so much more to me than just I'm murderous. And murderous is aside, and it can happen. Like the Firebug character is interesting from a like psychiatric perspective. Imagine if Harley was able to speak with him and was able to like counsel him and stuff like that. I think there'd be so many interesting things they could do with the show that doesn't necessarily have to revolve around, you know, beating somebody down with vengeance, right? But but that's still what I feel like when
But
you.
it's like it's all of this vengeance in people that have so much money. You know, every character, even the villains, they all come from rich places. It's like if it's a Gotham that we just see like the richest, and that's why even when I have a I don't remember the name of the one of the villain that came back and was trying to get the money of the poor people. You know, like that episode. I don't remember his name. You know who I'm talking about?
Oh, you're
Like
talking about the
episode
ghost.
eight.
The ghost,
Yeah,
yes.
the ghost.
Yeah, he was that.
When he comes back, you see like I don't know. It's a lot about richness. It's a lot about the people who have money versus people who
Wealth
doesn't
and
have it.
power.
So,
Yeah, wealth and
yeah,
power.
it's like it's a wealth and power Gotham that is leading.
That's the
like,
main themes at play and
yeah.
how those kind of affect the people around.
When usual Gotham is like people who are looking for money because everybody's poor, but now I had the impression a lot of people were rich and wanted to play with their money. I don't know. It wasn't.
And then it then affects the poor people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's like that's the effect and the reverb over the course of all of Gotham. And so it's like I think you can also look at it from the perspective of like you said, the vengeance, but I think also looking at it from who's producing the show. So like Matt Reeves, for example, the creator of the Batman film with Robert Pattinson, is also somebody who was involved with the show. And I feel like it's clear that kind of like theme and like that kind of tone of Batman is being used here just in a more noir 40s
but completely you're
exact like environment, right? And I feel like even the changes to the Joker that were made for the new Batman film are reflective of the small changes you're seeing here, even in that one scene at the end of the series where you're like getting the tease of the Joker, and he seems way more legit serial killer, straight, no laughing. Like there was like, this is this is interesting.
It's a kind of villain that like I don't know.
I think it's gonna work well for this show. I think it's gonna work well for the show in terms. It's really striking out its own footprint. I think within Batman lore, and I think like as an Elseworlds tale, we're so used to seeing Elseworlds. In all honesty, almost all renditions of Batman, save for like save for maybe even like, no, even Keaton's, when all these movies have these qualities of an Elseworld story where they don't feel like the staple Batman, there's always something about it that sets it apart. You know what I mean? Whether it's super realism with the Dark Knight and stuff, right? Or whether it's like the campy like darkness with like the Keaton movies and the Burton movies. It's like here you're getting a mix of a lot of these different things, and it's all working for me. Like it really, at the end of the day, like this series really, it hit the chords for me. I really enjoyed it. I really liked it.
Yeah, I like the series. It wasn't an X-Men 97 kind of series for me, but
No.
I liked it. I, I would I would recommend it if you like Batman, but if you want to be surprised by Batman. If you like your old
Mm-hmm.
Batman and you want to be like and you like
100%.
you're maybe not gonna get what you're looking for on it. But yeah. No, but generally I like the experience. I like
And
the
it hit all
like
it hit all the marks. I think for me is what I really want to say is
mhm.
what I needed from this series. It did. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to more. Hook it up, Matt Reeves. Hook it up, Bruce Timm. Hook it up. Real talk.
On that note, welcome. Thank you everybody being there. I'm Carlo.
And I'm Kaya. You already know this is the Crossover Cinema Podcast, y'all. We'll be back with our next episode talking about the latest films, movies, and TV and media releasing. Have a good one, y'all.
Bye guys.
Ciao.